They despise divine masculinity, as it stands in the way of perversion. As a masculine man would not stand for their satanic ideology. Sadly, the male who has been manipulated into feminization from early childhood is of no threat, as he lacks the inherent courage to go against the so-called norm, which only radically courageous men can do. As going against a norm has the risk of ostracization and ridicule, which is unacceptable to feminine energy. Now, before someone misunderstands, this is not to demonize feminine energy. It is as important to our survival as masculinity. Feminine energy is the literal womb of life, out of which the miracle of life comes forth. And on a universal level, it is that dark void of infinite potential out of which all that is, manifests. Via the masculine act of imagination or thought by the God consciousness. This polarity manifests itself on all planes of existences according to the Hermetic teachings. But these polarities serve inherently different purposes. As polarity derives creation and expansion of the all, which the cult is hell-bent on removing, that is, destroy the two polarities to control mankind. As both women centered in their divine feminine and men centered in their divine masculine are hard to control. Man versus woman is divide and rule tactic, nothing else. One of the oldest tactics known to mankind. Women in general are not rebellious by nature. They simply are more social creatures than a masculine man. This is why men have been renowned to do astonishing feats historically simply because of masculine energy. But the secret to the astonishing feats of man often was motivated to gain the favor of a particular feminine woman. Gaining the favor of femininity is the ultimate motivation of which most men are not ready to admit. It makes men strive harder to go beyond their limits. In short, it makes men strong and great. Now, only a spiritual man who is no longer interested in this world will not be enchanted by a maiden. Because he is now transcending the needs of flesh. He is going from polarity to unity consciousness. So that man is a completely different story. While we are here in this human form in man and woman polarity, we can find great value in our sexuality and our desire to connect with the opposite polarity. By transmuting our sexual desire to achieve greatness. Now, transmutation of this energy is a whole another video. If you guys would like me to make it, comment below. But here, on this plane of existence, men should embrace their manhood. Your love for women is not a weakness as it is being portrayed by the cult. It is an amazing driving force that, if harnessed, can take you beyond your limits and strengthens you beyond you could previously dream. A man truly comes into his own when he has a woman to protect and provide for. To build a family with. But now, the cult is making women hate strong men by labeling it as toxic masculinity and making sure that women seek the protection of the cult aka government rather than their own men. While in the so-called strong man category, materialistic, promiscuous, and shallow, self-proclaimed alpha males are being given the limelight. This is by design. So that women would come to hate the masculinity of a modern man as it is being portrayed in a perversive way. Divine masculinity has nothing to do with being promiscuous or materialistic. It has everything to do with emotional maturity and divine spiritual courage to stand for what is right. A man who is centered within himself and thinks for himself is deeply self-aware. It is anything but selfish and imposing or anything of shallow nature. The man who stands in his divine masculinity is the ultimate protector and provider. He stands in his integrity and makes sure that others do it too. This is why he is hated by the dark occultists. As he will not let the screwed up morals and ambiguous perversive worldview of the cult go unchecked. He is the exact opposite of the societal role model the dark occultists want. This is why masculinity is under attack with such cunning ferocity. Yet, I assure you, if men take a stand, they will cower. As a divine masculine man burns like the sun. The fire of the sun sustains all life, but it can burn you to a crisp if you get too close. And dark occultists are the lurkers of shadows. Spineless creatures using tricks to get their way. In no way can they show their true colors and go head to head with real men. Don't you think it is odd that the so-called Satan has to always use tricks to coerce or deceive people? If he is so powerful and in true opposition to God, why not take us head on and be done with it? Why not enslave us with his supremacy and higher intellect in one fell swoop? Because here his ideology followers can't. Now, I haven't personally met Satan in flesh yet, so I am more inclined toward Satanism as being an ideology. An ideology that is in opposition to the natural law. Explained in one sentence by Aleister Crowley as do what thou wilt. It may or may not include supernatural beings, but it certainly contains people who believe in do what thou wilt. Nonetheless, divine masculine men cannot be withstood by the shadow lurkers. The sun illuminates the darkest of things. And they hate the sun. They love Saturn instead. They hate the one who illuminates their dark dwellings. You see, woman is the nurturer, the healer, the divine feminine. She is the beauty, the peace, the womb of life. While man is her protector, her provider, her sustainer. This perfect harmony creates the true spiritual stability for the society to sustain and withstand for eons. So, if a subversive secret society that wants to take peace from the world to dominate and wants to enslave everyone, how would they go about it? If they can't take the divine masculine man head on. Divide and rule. Start corrupting the morals and way of life of the people in the form of progressivism and entertainment. Slowly seep into their society and use entertainment and propaganda to portray the man as tyrant. An evil slave master that the women need freedom from. Poison the minds of women by showing them that they can take care of themselves, they don't need no man. Man is enslaving them. And so, they sow the seed of divide and rule. When women are poisoned with this fake freedom, they become promiscuous as that is equated to true freedom by the cult. As they love perversion of natural law and sex is their number one tool to do it. Therefore, women indulge into meaningless forms of empowerment and stray further away from their true nature of nurturing and healing society, with their beauty, grace and motherhood. This mental, spiritual and physical promiscuity leads them to a man who is the self-proclaimed and endorsed by the modern standards, an alpha male/bad boy of this world of perversion. As he is considered to be the higher value male as he shows spiritual bankruptcy, promiscuity, material success and narcissism. Funny how all of these attributes describe Satanism. As they love this world and carnality. Women fall prey to these practicing Satanists' top men, who don't even know that they are practicing it. And since these men are the most desirable to the indoctrinated females, these men get the most women and damage them even more psychologically. As these men do not support women after they are done with them. There is no protection or emotional attachment. They will not provide the most necessary thing a female craves more than anything. That is, safety and commitment. Therefore, these women get hurt in many ways which are very hard to heal, unless she becomes aware spiritually of her wound. This leaves not enough good options for the rest of men. Which fosters resentment in them against women. Hence the red pill, men going their own way, sentiment rises. Now I am not abolishing the blame from women as well, as they also fall for the shallowness, simply because they are not centered in their divine femininity. As divine femininity is extremely intuitive and it lets you know beforehand if a man is a predator or sincere. But we all share the blame for not being self-aware. We put the spiritual self on the back burner and allow the cult to freely have their way with us. Nobody with eyes wide open would fall for any of it. Do you see how the entire web is weaved? And who can stop it? Do you see why they loathe divine masculinity? Because divine masculinity sustains and protects the society. You stand for what you believe in, and you die for it. If you know it is the right thing. You are not the aggressor, but you can crush those who come to disturb your peace. You can defend your women and children both from physical and mental attacks. You are the shield of society. But this divide and rule tactic gets even more sinister. Destruction of the nucleus family. Who is the nucleus of a family? A man, when it comes to protection and sustenance. When nucleus family is destroyed, who is going to provide protection to women and children? The government. And from this cunning process they have eliminated the man, acquired kids to indoctrinate into their agenda freely, and acquired indoctrinated females to support it. Men are the sustainers of society, and women are the sustainer of men and next generations. There would be no progress by the hands of men if there were no women to excite them. The ultimate driving force to achieve greatness in an average man's life is in one way or another a woman. Whether you like to admit it or not, unless a man is deeply spiritual, his driving force are women, and there is nothing wrong with it. It is not a weakness but an ultimate strength. Man needs a woman, and a woman needs a man. But the perverts of everything natural and loving, do not like it as they are anti-spirit. This is why you, the masculine man, is a thorn in the degenerate path towards the New World Order.
They are so naive. They think we are not aware of their crimes.
Everyone is coming to the future.
Not everyone is learning from the past. Not everyone is coming to the future. Not everyone that feels is gonna last.
What do wars do? They remove most young men from existence in that land and destroy a nation. So, when this nation is rebuilt, there aren't enough men to stand in the way of their new perversive society of enslavement. This is why men who have a voice of their own are being weeded off. There are plenty of males, but sadly, few awake men. Men armored with the timeless knowledge of Christic, Gnostic, Stoic, Hermetic paradigms. Men who can withstand the mounting pressure of the perversion and still stand in their truth. Men who take up their cross daily and walk with the true teachings of Christ. Not the dogmatic religious doctrines but true divine masculine spirituality. Men of honor, men of patience but with intense power seethed behind it. This is the man that is not wanted any longer. And this man sadly is hard to find now. But my intention is to show you what I have come to know. You need to develop the spiritual eyes to see it. The spiritual ears to hear it. And a divine masculine heart to withstand the gravity of it. May you rise again like the sun and shine away all the perversions of this world. You are loved and wanted. You are a necessity. Stand in your truth.